Hi, everybody. Thank you for taking time in listening to my vlog yesterday. So, this is day two in my documentation of my experience on postpartum depression. So, yesterday I discussed or mentioned about my triggers, how my life is like in a day, and since the my post at that time it has only been 3 hours. So my day yesterday was full of chores. I haven't really taken time to take a breather and rest. So what I usually do when I'm overwhelmed with my son's constant demand, well, not really demand, but I call it his way of showing his affection when he cries and um, just prefers to play with me the whole time while my chores are piling up. What I usually do when I'm overwhelmed is that I go back to my husband and leave them together. My husband works online, so it's a convenience because we're here at home. We stay at home, but on some aspects it's also an inconvenience because like in the case of my husband, it's difficult for him to really tear himself from work, or when he's taking care of the child it's also difficult for him to transition back to work, especially when there are times when he has to beat deadlines. But these are the little inconveniences that we are trying to face every day, since it hasn't been a month yet since we moved out. So we're trying to figure out things together. And well, one of the reasons that I wanted to document my experience on postpartum depression is to make aware. And quite fortunately, for the purpose of documentation rather, but unfortunate, and also unfortunate on my end, because last night I think I was already tired from the chores that I have done the whole day. I I deep cleaned the kitchen, dining, those stuff that I think I have this tendency to overdo things. I want things organized because if it's organized somehow, my I can associate it with a clear mind, with me having a clear mind. So later in the afternoon yesterday, my parents came by unannounced, and they wanted to take my son out. They want to take him on a day out. So my husband and I didn't have any choice but to uh, allow allow them to allow them with my son, with our son, because they're already there, and then they have guests waiting inside the car. So everything was a rush. We were actually in the middle of his snack, and he was making a mess from his snack because it's a puree. I prepared a puree for him, so he was making a mess all over the place. So that's it. I made a quick, I fixed my son and prepared the stuff that he needs for his day out with his grandparents. And well, I was expecting that my parents would bring him back home before 7, because 7 p.m. is his bedtime. But sadly, they returned him to us around 8, almost 9 p.m. And that added up to my stress at that time yesterday. So our son when we put our son to sleep, it was the only time that my husband and I proceeded with our dinner. And after that, well, everything was quite okay. And then suddenly I just snapped. Well, this is a funny thing that happened. I was planning to cook. I was cooking. I prepared a chicken basil meal for my husband. But unfortunately, the basil leaves that I purchased from the store, from the groceries rather, was actually not basil. It was chocolate mint. So it really not destroyed the flavor, but it did not deliver the taste that my husband and I was expecting. And being an honest guy, my husband told me that it was not a good dish and I felt bad. Maybe what I really wanted at that time was to hear some nice things because the whole day I was really tired. I was only hearing my thoughts. So I tried to clean everything so that I cannot hear my thoughts. And I broke down. My husband is not an insensitive person, but his words triggered what what could have been emotions that I wanted to hide. But this was a learning lesson on our end, as he has told me that he is learning from me every day, each day, now that we are only focusing on ourselves and our son. So, yeah, I guess that's it. That's all about it for today. I don't know what will happen today, but I know that there are still chores piling up and I need to finish them, but not right away. I have to take things slow. And most importantly, this is the moment, this is the time of my life, of my son's life, where I have to be all ears, all eyes, full attention on him. Because I know someday this won't be the moments with my son um, will just pass away, will, will drift by. It will just slip through my fingers. So those are the thoughts that I tell myself to get by when invading thoughts or intruding thoughts like those negative things that I often hear from my parents, from friends, from people. So that's it. I guess what I realized at that night that when I'm tired, it would be nice if my husband or anyone around the house would avoid um, striking jokes on me, because even if the jokes are not directed on me, I would directly associate to me. When I'm tired, it would be best if just to say nice things. I don't know what nice things would that be, but that's a challenge on my husband's part and on my end too. It's for me to find out. But from what happened last night, um, the nice word that I wanted to hear from him when we tried after I calmed down, when we tried to resolve it, the nice words that I really wanted to hear it regarding with regards to my cooking was a simple word, a sentence that this menu, this recipe that I've tried to invent is a work in progress. So it's much better to hear than um, this lacks salt or the mint destroyed food. So it's quite devastating on my end. So that's it. I wondered what are your triggers, because in my experience it would be really nice to identify that so that you can avoid it. And hopefully, and maybe if you see a therapist, you wouldn't really need medication, because my therapist and I, this is our aim, for me to avoid medication, that I'd be able to handle my behavior and handle my train of thoughts. So thank you everybody for listening, for taking time, and I hope you all have a good day.